Today we're going to be talking about lizard skin. Alright, so what is lizard skin? Lizard skin is a two-part spray-on sound deadener insulation. It's not really an insulation, I'm going to call it more of a thermal break and a moisture barrier. They call it an insulation, but it has 0 R value, so I'm using it more as the sound deadener and the thermal break. So why do you need a sound deadener? Well, if you've ever been in the back of one of these Sprinter vans, so if you're not sure why sound deadening is so important in a Sprinter van, see how that's a nice dead sound, it's all treated. Then I'll show you somewhere over here. That's why I use a sound deadener. The first step when doing lizard skin or any sort of painting is prep work, prep work, prep work. Prep work seems to take the longest in any of these kind of projects, but if you put the time to do it right, it always pays off in the end. The first thing you want to do is remove the seats, headliner, and anything else you can remove from the van. We masked off the entire van using yellow tape. The yellow tape is automotive refinish masking tape. It's designed to not stick as... It's designed to not peel off the paint on fresh paint, and the tape itself is actually a little stronger than the regular green painter's tape. So when it is time to remove the stuff you've taped off, this stuff... Who else could watch that all day? Just so satisfying of that nice tape. Because the lizard skin is quite thick, will rip, and this is a lot stronger, so it peels off a lot nicer. Once you've got everything masked off, it's time to start sanding. All right, got mask, sanding pads, sanders in the van. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. This is going to be a bit of a mess, but let's get started. I think got all the sanding done. I have no idea how long that took. Took a long time. But I'm going to be spraying the lizard skin in the headliner cavity, the roof, the floor, and all in here and in here. I'm not doing this because I'm cutting the window in here, and I'm not bothering with the sliding door or the rear doors just because the more I looked at it, it just seemed like it was going to be a total headache. So yeah, now I got to clean up. So I have to wipe it all down. What's next? Wipe it all down, vacuum, maybe water, and then acetone and cheesecloth to get all the dust out of here, and then spray. Not sure how much more I'm going to get through tonight, but maybe start spraying tomorrow? Maybe. No promises. I used a combination of a palm sander, orbital sander, and an oscillating tool, and a combination of 120 and 220 grit sandpaper. Basically, you're not trying to remove the paint on the van here, you're just trying to sand everything and sort of scuff up and remove the shine from the surface so the lizard skin has something to stick to. You want to do as thorough a job as possible, but again, we're not trying to remove the paint, we're just trying to scuff up the surface. This does take quite a while, it's not a lot of fun, but just take your time and do it properly. When you are doing the sanding, I really recommend using some hearing protection and a respirator. There's a ton of dust that is created by the sanding, so having a box fan blowing, using a respirator, really helps remove the amount of the particles that you are inhaling. You'll note that in my build, I didn't spray any lizard skin on the sliding door or opposite the sliding door behind the driver's seat because I plan on putting a window there, and I didn't do the rear doors, mainly because I didn't see the benefit of spraying those doors with the little amount that is going to be visible. And I didn't want to risk damaging the internal mechanisms by spraying it with this, two-part sound deadener insulation that hardens rock hard. So how much lizard skin do you need? For a 144 van, I ordered 5 gallons of the sound deadener and 5 gallons of the ceramic insulation. I only ended up using 4 gallons, so I had an extra gallon of each. So on the 144 van, if you're trying to get 2 coats, 4 gallons of each is the right number. When it comes time to installing the lizard skin, if you're going to be using both products, you apply the sound deadener first, waiting about 1 hour between coats. And after you open up a tub, you stir slowly for 2 minutes. If you stir too fast, it can actually change the chemical properties of the mixture and cause it to harden sooner than it's supposed to. So just stir slow for about 2 minutes. Fill your gun. Good luck getting it all over the outside of the can. You're going to want to set your compressor to 55 psi at the gun and adjust the nozzle so that when it's spraying, it's about the size of a baseball from 8 inches. Keep in mind, I used a 6-gallon compressor and it did have trouble keeping up. So I had to spray, for a minute and then let the compressor catch back up just so it wasn't running the whole time and getting hot. So if you do have something bigger than a 6-gallon compressor, I suggest using it. When you are spraying, you go through the stuff really quick. So it's nice to have a helper that can fill the tin and it gives you a little bit of a break in between cans. I recommend having good lights because especially on the second coat, it's really hard to see your coverage area because you're spraying black on black. The first coat is really easy because it's the black on the color of the van, but the second coat, a good light really helps to show you where you've sprayed and where you haven't. I started up front above the headliner area. On my first van, I didn't do anything above the headliner initially. And what ended up happening is because that's a smooth surface, is condensation would form there when I was heating the van in the winter. So with the lizard skin, it's actually going to create a rough surface because condensation likes to form where a cold surface outside, the heated surface inside, meet each other on a smooth surface, which was the sheet metal of the van, and that formed condensation. I was actually getting frost so bad in there that when it would unthaw, I could fill a coffee cup with the condensation that was dripping out of the light, the center light in the van. So with the lizard skin, this is going to prevent condensation from forming, and it does an amazing job deadening the sound up in the headliner. So I started with the headliner, and then I did the left wall all the way back, the right wall all the way back, and left the floor for last, essentially working my way backwards out of the van between coats. Make sure you check the gun periodically and have some fresh water so you can clean the gun. You'll notice that over time the gun starts to get gunked up and it starts to spray poorly, so you need to take the time to clean it out. You can just spin off the tip and clean it and then run it through some hot, clean water. Another thing, in between coats, when you're taking a break, you want to clean the gun out as best as you can. This stuff does dry very quickly, and if you don't clean the gun out in between coats, it's going to harden inside the gun and turn the gun into garbage. So take the 2 minutes to clean out the gun thoroughly between coats, so you can do coats 2, 3, and 4 without wrecking the gun. Another little pro tip I have is that when you are prepping the van, we wrapped the wires in plastic wrap, and then we actually loosely wrapped them in aluminum foil tape. Tin foil would also work, and that made it super easy for us to remove to make sure we didn't cover the wires, and having the loose foil wrap made it easy to uncover afterwards. And we also used the foil wrap and plugged all of the nut certs in the floor because we plan on using the factory nut certs that come with the van to secure the subfloor. So if we would have sprayed over those, it would have wrecked the threads. So we plugged, I think there was 6 or 8 of them in the floor so we can reuse those. How long did this project take? All in all, this project, it was about 2 days of prep work. So that's sort of 2 days of removing the seats, the B-pillar, the headliner, sanding, masking everything off, and then cleaning it with the acetone, the vacuum, and then we did it in 3 days of spraying. We did 1 coat of the sound deadener, waited till the next day because of timing, did another coat of sound deadener, waited the 24 hours, And then we did 2 coats of ceramic insulation in 1 day. I do think you could do it in 2 days if you had everything ready to go, the spraying. So I'm gonna call this a 4-day project, even though it took us 5. But yeah, so yeah, that's lizard skin. So if you have any questions about the lizard skin, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I think the next project on the van is we're gonna cut some windows in. So stay tuned for the next one. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, do it. Do it now. And what's another thing? Oh yeah, and we do have a full build guide that we're working on. We have my first van on there that's fully documented, so you can check that out. Links in the description below. And as we complete the sections for van number 2, those will be available to everybody in the van build guide as well. So we'll see you in the next one.